I'll first introduce myself. So yes, today is a SOLIDWORKS Electrical Revision Jamboree, and the reason I threw that name in there is it's just a kind of a sprinkling of different things, different topics, that type of thing. So it'll be a good kind of general purpose type of thing. This is me. In fact, when I turn off my camera, that's the screenshot that you'll see. But the gabion wall has always been a fascination for me for landscaping stuff. Not that I'm a landscaper, but I found one in Scottsdale, Arizona, that actually, oddly enough, is one of our customers that runs the wastewater treatment plant. They had a gabion wall there with the rocks and the steel structure there. But this is a little bit about me. Kind of central northern Arizona is what they figure where I'm at. I actually report to the Mesa, Arizona office, which is down south in the Phoenix area, but I don't actually commute to that office. Haven't for almost not quite a decade, but it's creeping up there pretty quick. But SOLIDWORKS expert, so I know SOLIDWORKS CAD quite well. I'm also an Elite AE, which is a reseller certification, so know a lot of my stuff. Been doing the electrical side of things almost since SOLIDWORKS Corporate actually acquired and rebranded it. So definitely since the 2012-2014 timeframe. But these days I'm doing a lot of the PDM electrical connector implementations, or connecting those two products. So SOLIDWORKS PDM Professional and SOLIDWORKS Electrical Schematics Professional, and connecting those guys together. And then yeah, I've been using SOLIDWORKS CAD since the 2001 version, so I've been around the block, if you would say. So this is just me outside of work. So a little bit about me. I've got a soon-to-be 5-year-old daughter, even though I've got the gray hair. But and then yeah, my wife and I enjoy traveling. We did a lot more before we had our daughter, but just this past January we actually went to Puerto Vallarta. So my daughter could see the beach for the first time and join a friend's wedding. So let's dive into a little bit of what we're covering today. In fact, I'm going to go and turn off my camera here, and let's go full screen. So that's, yeah, there we go. All right. So kind of the idea is a little bit of everything. So if you haven't used the SOLIDWORKS electrical controller, this will be new for you. If you have, it'll be a little bit of a review. But we're going to get into the revision formula that's in the software, along with there's a drawing revision table. So we'll look at what drives that, how the edits for that are done. And then we'll also get into the report. So there is a revision table report. And we'll do a quick edit just so you can kind of see how that's done, an advanced edit, if you will, but quick. And then we'll get into what snapshots are, kind of related, not related type of thing. So I'll talk about what those are, and then a glimpse at the PDM electrical integration. I mean, of course, that's one of the hats I wear, right? I do integration implementation, so I might as well share that with the group there. Have a project open already. Let's just kind of take a look at a couple of drawings here first. I'm going to open up that one, and I'm going to open up this one here. And you know what? Let's go and make a vertical tile here. So I'm going to zoom in. Yeah, there's a new feature in 25 that under Tools Interface Configuration that you can turn on that'll auto size every time, or fit to screen, I guess I should say, every time you open a document. So if I close these and reopen it, it'd be a zoom fit there. So this top one is the cover page, and then the bottom one is just a schematic page. And the reason I bring both of these up initially is, one, to see the difference in the visual look of the rev tables. The other part of it is they're actually pulling information from two different places, and we'll talk about what that is. So we'll kind of see that difference, and we'll kind of see how them interact. The revision numbering, right now, this particular project is based off of a like a default out of the box ANSI template. That's what this is based off of. So if you use that template, these are the defaults as close as you can see, short of, I mean, I did throw something on this project drawing wise already, but that is the template that I'm using to start with. The only other exception is I did swap out the I made copies of the 2 title blocks just so I can mess around with them and not change the originals, and I'll talk about those as well. But so the revision controller in SOLIDWORKS Electrical is primarily at the book level. So this particular project has a single book, so I have a single rev controller. If I had multiple books, I would actually have one rev controller for each book. So again, kind of keep an eye at the header of the dialog, just so that you're aware of, okay, hey, I'm in book 1. This is the rev management for that one. The information that it collects is pretty rudimentary. I mean, we've got the rev number, and we'll switch this to ABC here in a moment so you can see that. Created by, so who the project was created by, and, well, when it was created. And this is probably based on when I originally installed, or maybe the template date. So this one almost never seems to be accurate as far as when that goes. But the idea here is, okay, initial project, I start working on it, it's in a work in progress state. So it hasn't been validated, it hasn't been verified. In my scenario, I'm all self-contained, so I would be the one validating it and verifying it. But if you are set up in a server client setup, or you do pass the project from one person to the other, you could have one person work on the project and a different person validate it, and a different person do the verify. So realize it doesn't have to be the one person that clicks on these. As far as, well, let's go and do a validation here. So when I hit the validation, it's going to go and capture the name, and I'll show you where that name comes from, the date of what it currently is, and then if that's all I was doing was the validation, I'd hit OK, and then I'd pass this project to the next person to do the verify. I'm going to do both right now just so we can capture both of them. Okay. First thing when we do a verify is, hey, do I want to update any of the reports? And most of the time you're going to want to do this, mostly because if you had a bill of material report or you had some other report, you want those to be refreshed and updated before it's kind of locked in as a verified report. So that's the first question that we get. And then again, that captured the name there. I'll go and throw a description here too. So we'll just go and say first descript. Okay. And when I go and hit OK there, it's going to ask me for a couple of things. First one is, do I want to either do a physical print or create a PDF of it? For my purpose, I'm not going to do either one of those. So I'm going to leave that off. So we'll say do nothing to this one. It also gives us the ability to do a snapshot. I'll be talking about snapshots at the very end, but realize that after you do a verify, you could do a snapshot at that point. So I'll go and say no to the snapshot there. So as you can see, we've got the rev number, and again, we'll switch that to ABC here in a moment. It's got the creation date, which again, it almost seems never accurate. The initial person that created it, and then also the description. And that stuff is information that is basically built into the project. A lot of the times, the only time this will get updated is if I did a duplicate or I did a new, and even then I've seen certain tech cases where it just didn't update for whatever reason. Notice that the description of Rev 0 did populate into the cover page. If I pop down here to the drawing, it did not populate down here, okay? So that's another thing to kind of start seeing that difference there. But let's go and switch this to a Rev ABC, or letter Rev, I guess. So revision control is done on a per project basis. So if you're wanting it to always be ABC revision, you want to do that with your template. That way you don't have to do it with every project that you change. Come into the Electrical Projects tab, we hit the upper half of the Configurations button there, and then it's on the very first tab here, the General tab. Okay, so there are some built-in ones there. So we have ones that start at 0, ones that start at 1, ones that start at 0 and then go AB, and then just straight ABC. For now, I'll just switch it to ABC, and then we'll come back in here and we'll explore the custom one at the very bottom there. So for now, I'm switching it to ABC so we can see the switch there. I'll go and hit OK there. So again, that changes right away. Okay, at least even onto the drawing itself. Okay. But now let's go and throw in another book level revision. So I'm going to go and say revision. Okay. I'm going to say new revision. So because I've hit OK after the last verify, new revision is available now. So realize that if you do a verify, you have to hit OK, come back in before new revision button is available for us. Oh, you know what? I'm going to change the name here for just a sec. So I'm going to take a step back before I actually do the new revision. So I'm going to cancel out of that. I'm going to go and close the project. I know this is kind of counterintuitive, but so I'm closing the project, but before I can change my name, I have to have the project closed to be able to go into application settings here on the tools tab. So application settings, and that's where it's pulling the information. Right now it's defaulting to the Windows login name, so that's who I'm using on this virtual machine. And then here I can actually go and change this to, let's see, I'll do my initials, MNulty and MN. Okay. For those that actually even remember Nick Nolte, I'm not related to him, but I think a lot of people don't even remember who Nick Nolte is. But yeah, Mike Nolte or Michael Nolte there. All right, so I've changed that. Again, in Tools, Application Settings, I'm going to go and reopen that project up again. Oh, and yeah, let's go and get those two drawings back open here again. And we'll go Window, Horizontal there, and we'll get zoomed in here again so we can keep tabs on what's occurring with these. There we go. All right, so let's get back into that book rev controller. So revisions, again on the right click over the book. Okay. I'll go and do my new revision. So it captured my new name, captured the new date there. Just because I'm not inventive, I'm going to go and do second description. I'll go and say this is B. Okay. So once you do a new revision, that line shows up, and then you hit OK, and you start doing your changes. Okay. Notice the difference here, though. Again, the information on the cover page populated right away. Still not getting that information populating on the drawing, even if I make it active, right? So it's not a refresh thing. There's a difference between these two tables. Okay. So I'm going to go and push this one through a validation. Okay. So it captured name and date. Verify. So there's that update drawings that I got before. But this is an interesting dialog that we didn't get last time. So the revision B is validated and verified. Do you want this to set all the books documents to the revision number B? So let me change the wording here a little bit so it makes a little more sense. So if I say yes to this, it'll actually take the book revision and push it into the drawing revision. If we say no to that, the book revision still captures B, but the individual drawings do not. So for right now, I'm actually going to say no to that, just so you can kind of see the reaction. Depending on how your company operates, though, a lot of the times you're going to be revving the project in its entirety. You're not going to do it as separate objects or separate drawing pages. So most of the time, the customers that I've worked with usually say yes to this every single time. But again, that's more of a preference type of thing. So I'm going to say no to this one. Okay. I'll go and hit OK. Once again, we get the ability to make a PDF, ability to make a snapshot, and I'll go and say cancel to both of those last two dialogues. So cover page, B showing up already. On the drawing page, we don't have a B revision showing there. Okay. So what is going on? How is that occurring? Why is it doing what we're seeing there? So if I right click over a drawing and I go to the drawing revision controller, so this is the drawing revision controller, revision management just for page 4, the power page there, and you'll see that the other one revision did not get pushed into this one. And one of the other things I'll point out here in just a moment is a drawing or page revision cannot supersede a book revision. And what I mean by that is if the book is at B, the drawing could be A or B, but it cannot be C. The drawing or the pages cannot be C because the book is still at B. So if I wanted a page to get to C, then I'd have to bring the book up to C as well. So something to be aware of, that you can't supersede those. Okay. Again, I'll come back in here in just a moment, but let's go and do ourselves a C revision at the book level. So revisions, again, right click over the book, revision controller there at the book. We'll do another new one. Again, normally I would say, okay, I would go and do my work on the project after I've issued C. I'll go and throw in a description here. So we'll do a third, oops. If my fingers want to work today. All right, so there's my third description. And we're going to talk about user data fields too. So I'll throw a note in there later. So we'll actually see something show up in there. But I'm going to go straight into the validate and verified here. So validate, verify. This time I am going to say yes to this dialog. Again, this is, okay, do I want it to push to the drawings? That would be a yes. No, I want it to stay just at a book revision. Okay, so I'll go and say yes to that. And then I'll go and hit OK there. Once again, we're prompted for PDF creation and snapshot canceling out of both of those. So the book revision is getting captured on the cover page. So it is capturing all of those. That's that rev table. Whereas if we look at the drawing, it is only capturing the ones that are actually getting pushed to it. So in fact, if we look at one of the other ones, I'll bring up page 5 here real quick, but it is also following suit there as well. Okay. If I did try to take the drawing to D, and going back to what I was talking a little bit ago, if I tried to do a new, lets me know I can't increase it beyond what the book revision is at. So we have to do the book first, and then we do the drawings. Okay. All right. So why is that occurring? What's going on here? So let's take a look at the meat of each of these pages here. So this kind of starts bleeding into the second topic here. So if I want to look at the title block of the cover page, so I'll right click, I'll go and do a open on that, and we'll go and full screen this. So the rev tables in the title blocks are a collection of attributes. If you haven't gone through training and learned symbol creation or title block creation, definitely go through some formal training of that symbol creation, because we do get into attributes, whether it be tutorials in the software, self-paced training, instructor-led training. We do go into that. I'm going to intentionally drag these out so you can see that, see what they are. In fact, let's turn off the ortho here so I can actually drag them up and out. In fact, I'll stagger these just so you can kind of see what's occurring there. Well, that one I can actually probably leave. But so the attributes, these particular attributes all start with the pound sign and then BUN, meaning bundle, or in SOLIDWORKS electrical terms, BUN means book. I think probably the software originally started out as bundle, but BUN is reference to the book. In fact, if we go to the insert attribute here on the edit title box, we get into very quickly, if we go book, revision, and then we look at one of the indexes. So all of the ones that are in blue are the ones that are actually already inserted in. So they're pulling from the book level. Okay. Oh, and yeah, there was also description there too, right? Okay. I'm gonna go and do an undo here. Put all these back into place there. Notice the index on the far side there. So there's a 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. This project is by default set up to load the highest number that's on the document and then work its way up. So when we look at our cover page, it starts at the bottom, starts working its way up. Once we hit the max for that particular document, the last one drops off, and then it continues going further. It shifts them all down, type of thing. There is a setting for that, just so you're aware of. Quick little detour, 1 sec. So if we go into configurations, the wording I don't quite understand real well, but so I'm still on the general tab, electrical configuration, but it's this always fill lower index attributes, fill attributes from index. It's kind of the difference between, well, yeah, whether it's going top down or bottom down. And really what it comes down to is like, okay, is it the max number that's on the page, or is it actually starting at the smallest number, which would be 0? So again, treat these as like, hey, I want them to go the opposite direction. Okay. But all right, so the cover page is using bundle, so BUN. Let's go and take a look at the drawing page here. So I'm going to right click and look at its title block. So this one is not pulling from the book, it is pulling from the page level. So if we go into insert attributes, okay, and we go down to drawing level, revision, so there's the rev number, so that's used here, and then the counter, so the first index, so and then it's grabbing the number, the creation date, the created by, but we could grab verified or validated, so we could grab some of these other values if we wanted to, just by putting check marks in there. Description. Okay. This default template only has 0, 1, and 2, but then we do have up to 5, so 0 through 4. So we could add more lines and more table information in there and bring in more attributes if we wanted to. Probably shift everything up and then do that. I'm going to just grab these 4 values there, drop those in. Okay. And in fact, let's see. I go back to page 4 here briefly. I'm going to do, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's my mistake. I didn't want to do, oh, no, I want to switch back to that. I don't want to do that one because that doesn't exist yet. I want to do 2, drawing, revision. Oh, no, that's 1. There's 2. All right, I'm going to go and grab those. You know what? Might as well grab these 2. So I'll grab all of those. I'm not going to really well organize this. I am just going to kind of have the stuff out to the side just because I'm not going to take the time to modify a table during the webinar. But so I'm going to save this as is. So you're going to see this one is kind of all scattered type of thing, although we don't have a revision in that just yet. So we're going to save that, and we'll close these guys out. I didn't make any changes to that one, so I'll leave that as is. All right. We don't see the updates right away. Just like a lot of things in electrical, you do have to do a right-click and update to get an individual page updated. Or if I want to do a bulk update, I go Process tab, Update Data, and then I can say, okay, I want to update my title blocks. It finds the difference there. I could even preview it. There's the one with the miscellaneous stuff there. All right, and there's the update. Oh, of course, that symbol ended up right in the way, didn't it? There we go. So this info is pulling from the bottom line there, and this info, nope, I take that back. That one is actually pulling from the first line. I think I've got them reversed there. It's that reverse counting thing that always throws me off a little bit, but this is one of the things I tend to do when I'm doing something. I'll actually just throw it out into space, get the values in the right order, and then start edit the drawing title block again and start editing it and bringing it in. But yeah, that's interesting. So 4.8, that must have been when I brought that over to this virtual machine, I think is why it's grabbing that. But let's do another change here. So quick recap, and then we'll do a change here. So the cover page, so cover page is on the bottom now. So cover page is displaying the book revision controller information. The drawing title block is showing the individual page revision information, okay? I have had a few customers I've worked with that they actually just wanted all of the book revisions to show up on the pages. They didn't want, whether somebody said yes or no to that question about pushing the revision down to the drawing, they wanted it to always flow down to all of the pages. So it's, to be honest, it's a relatively easy, give or take the amount of time that it takes to manipulate the table, but find a cover page or find a page that does have book level. So we'll go and edit that guy again. Title block open. And the editing, I could technically go into library tab, title block, and open it there. This is my copy, so the dash rev is the one that I created. If you took the dash rev out, that's the stock name there. And let's go and open up the page 4 there. Okay, and we'll close out of the originals, and we'll go and do tile horizontally. All right, so bottom is the cover page. Top one is my schematic page one. Okay, so as you might have suspected already, it's a box selection. I'll go and start from the left and go to the right there. In fact, I might as well grab that. Maybe I will grab the table though too. So I'll grab that. So I'm going to do a Control C. So right click copy or Control C on the keyboard. Come up to your other document, Control V. Well, that worked earlier. Why is that not liking me now? Figures. All right, let's just try the attributes, not the tables. All right, let's copy that again. In fact, I'm going to do it intentionally, a right-click copy there. Right-click, paste. Hey, there we go. Okay. Yeah, it didn't like grabbing everything out all at the same time. So this, in effect, is my book revisions. Okay. I'm going to show you what happens when I just remove one row off of there. So I'm going to get rid of the 4. Okay. We'll go and save the drawing again. Okay. And we'll close out both of these. Nope, didn't make any changes to the cover page one. And then we need to process our updates again. So process update. We'll do just the title blocks again. Okay, it sees the difference. Next and finish. Okay. Oh, quick little side note on that update. What drives that is if we're in electrical project configuration title block tab, the update looks at the name here that's assigned here. So I actually did a search and I found the ones that I made copies of, and then I replaced those, which, by the way, you can do a bulk replace. You can do a shift select or control select, and you can replace a bunch of title blocks all at the same time. So if those were all selected, I hit the little magnifier in the lower right here, and then switch it out with a different one. So that update data looks here at the title block as to what this project, so this particular project I have open, what it's referencing as far as for which document type. So that's why the update data works. All right, let's go and get those drawings opened again here, and we'll get them tiled. All right, so no changes there on the cover page. We've kind of left that as is. Oh, yeah, let's get that moved out of the way here. So we're going to go schematic tab. We're going to go and grab stretch. If you haven't played with the stretch tool, definitely play around with it. So let's grab that and probably that. Yeah, that one probably is, I probably shouldn't have grabbed the lines up top there. Yeah. Gets the job done. Oh, you know, I should have picked the other ones on the other side too. That's what I forgot to do. All right, so this is what we copied from the book level. So notice how it has A, B, and C. So even though I got rid of the last row there, it still grabbed and is displaying the last 3 revisions. Again, these are the book revisions. So most likely, if I was going this route, I'd come in here, delete all the stuff out of this table, and then I would drag in and populate that table with my book attributes, opposed to me to my page or drawing attributes there. Okay. All right, so let's see, checking questions. Let's see. Oh, looks like I've got one there. When you select the attributes the second time, you're deselecting. Oh, yeah, good catch, Jason. When I tried to copy and paste from one drawing to the other, yeah, it's because I did a box around it twice, which is the deselect. Every program's slightly different. Some a box selection is additive and always additive. And other programs like Electrical, if you do a second selection, it does catch that. Thank you, Jason. Let's see. No way to maintain a different rev indicator concept for. So I'm looking at the questions here. I'm going to expand it here. Is there no way to maintain a different rev indicator or concept drawing revs level or release level for traceability and differentiating between pre-release and post-release changes? Some of the projects are in design, pre-release for years. Yeah. So, and that's the thing is Electrical itself. It essentially every time you have the project open, it's always marching forward. It doesn't actually keep a version record of where it's at, and that's where we'll get into the snapshot stuff, and that's part of the question that was asked. The other part of it is like, okay, well, maybe it's never at Rev A. Okay, so if it's never at A, it's still in a prototype pre-release stage. What do we do? Well, okay, that's where a lot of companies tend to do like an X or a dash or a Z or something like that as the initial rev, and that's what's displayed. And we'll go into that here next. Let's see. Next question here, recommendation for changing the revision level before or after you begin. Generally, the idea I think would be to, if I was going to do Rev D, I would do a new revision, start working on whatever those Rev changes are, and then once it's at its final stage ready to go production, then I would do the validate and verify. That being said, I don't think it necessarily matters all that much. You could technically be working on the document and it still be C, and then make your changes and then hit new revision. But that's where we need, at the end of this meeting, we want to talk about rev control stuff. So yeah, we not rev control, version control. There's a difference there, version control versus rev. All right, so give me just a moment to glance at my notes here. Okay, so let's go into custom formulas here. Let's talk about that here for a sec. So back at the electrical project tab, configurations, back down here. Okay, so yes, there are some baked in ones, 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 0, ABC, and then ABC. But if we want something where it's going to be in a prototype stage, we would probably want to go custom. And if I go into the FX button or just double click on this row where it's custom formula, so just below the custom, and I get into here, there are some predefined formulas in the templates, or there should be. So there are some baked in there. And so in the case of a like a prototype, a lot of the times I've had customers go with this one that starts with 0, and then we'll just swap it out with whatever we want that prototype one to be, like a dash, or in my former years of doing manufacturing, we used to do X for our prototypes, but I've been seeing dash a lot more. The other thing too is you can also edit this list to skip common letters. That's another common thing in revisions, is you don't do things like I, O, S, Z, X. So you skip letters that can be easily confused for numbers. So you get rid of those. So you can remove those from the list. Make sure you keep the formatting, get rid of the extra commas there, otherwise it squawks down at the bottom down here. And then once it gets to that spot, it'll just skip over that particular letter. Keep in mind that this is only a change that is occurring to this particular project. So if that's going to be the normal thing and maybe you have some legacy projects and you need to adjust, realize you can copy the report, so Control C, or not the report, the formula. So copy that, and let's see, I've just got Notepad++ there, so we'll jump into a new, and you can throw that into a text file, and you can copy and paste that into the formulas of other projects. So realize you can do that. Okay. All right, so I'll hit OK there. OK again, and then you'll see that my letters adjusted based off of that new formula. Okay, again, formulas are project specific. So, okay, all right. So let's see, a little out of order on my notes, but we did cover editing the title blocks. Let's go into a report here. So again, I'm keeping an eye on the time. They only allowed us an hour, but we should be good. All right, so electrical project tab. So next topic is, there is a report that is also rev table. One sec. Sorry about that. Quick frog to get rid of out of my throat there. All right, so reports off of the electrical projects tab. I hit the add button. It is available up here at the top. I actually added that already into my project prior, but you just put the little check mark in there. Preview, you can highlight it and it'll give you a preview of it. So this column is your formulated or your tag value, the resultant of the formula, and then this is just your straight counter, the far right there. Okay. If I do a generate drawings, okay. So now I have a drawing that is, well, that rev information, the validated, verified. This most likely probably should be up below the cover page there. Okay. And then I'll go and do a document book, renumber documents, just so that the 6 turns to a 2. But drawing, recalculate manual, current book. Okay, yep. That was just, again, a right-click renumber documents is where we were at with that. So there is one out of the box in the software that you can use, but we're going to do a quick detour here and show you how to modify that. In fact, I'm going to throw an extra value in here. So I'm going to say still to come. Let's call this. Oh, you know what? Let's get it even more fancy here. I'm going to change user data 1 to be ECO, so engineering change order. So I hit the customize button down there at the bottom. User data 1, and we'll go ahead and call this ECO NO or something like that. Okay. And I'll just make up my ECO number. And we'll make up another ECO number. Okay, there's my ECO numbers. Okay. So say we wanted that to show on our report. Well, if we go and edit the report, we can do a right-click edit from here. My preference is I actually like to hit the down arrow on the configuration, go to reports, just because I like to get it from the application level, being across all projects. I want to get it into the project over here on the right-hand side. So if I botch something up, it's not modifying the one on the electrical server, it's modifying the one in the report. If it's good, then I'll push it back, or maybe even rename it and then push it back. But so I'll go and edit that by a double click, come into columns. So I can tell you right now, if I tried to add a column, that user data field is not available. So even if I did column management or I did a custom column, it's not going to be available. So what I need to do is come down to the lower right-hand corner, lower left-hand corner, and go into expert mode. Okay. Yes, I want to go into expert mode. And then I have this edit button. So left-hand side of this interface is the query, the SQL query to pull the information. The right-hand side is the tables to pull that information from. Okay. So I'll go and go edit. So it's now in an editing stage. And then I'm going to drill down into this one that's already bold, down to the book level information. So book revision, user data fields, and then I'm going to grab that field right there. So the first user data field. So it's called user data 1, but it's the first one in the list there. Okay, so rev of book, user data fields. So I double click on that, and that double click, what that does is it copies it in as a line in here. So that's the variable it's pulling from the table, and then you can say, okay, what is it? So I'm going to call this book ECO NO. And you could technically put spaces in there. I tend to do underscores, but so variable where it's getting stored, and then when I hit apply, it's going to force me to test it. And if I go scroll all the way to the far right, there's my new variable that's being brought in. Okay, so that only made the variable accessible to us. And let's see, I'm going to go and get rid of that rev NO column. So I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm going to add a new column in. And again, I apologize for the speed. It's just because I'm watching the clock here. We will get this posted on YouTube though too, so you'll be able to go back. So I gave it the new column a name. I hit the FX button there, and then we're going to go and grab our new variable that we imported in via that query there. So double clicked on it to add it to the formula down below. Hit OK. Hit OK, and there's our new column. Let's see, I'm going to make this a little bit narrower. So one there, maybe 1, 3, And maybe 1.3 there too. Okay, that should be enough so it fits. I'll apply that and I'll close. Okay, close again. And the last thing, just like everything else, we've got to do an update. So we could go back to the reports button there, far right there on the toolbar, and we could generate drawings again, or you can right click on the tab or right click in the tree and then do an update reports drawing. And there's our ECO number. Oh yeah, there's a weird artifact of me modifying that title block. It affected the title block that was being used for the reports as well too. So, all right. So that's editing a revision report. So let's talk about snapshots and version control. So in the SOLIDWORKS electrical software, so out of the box, whether it be Electrical Schematics Standard, which most people don't have, or Electrical Schematics Professional, which tends to be most of our customers by the Schematics Professional, not to be confused with Electrical Pro, but that's a whole nother conversation. So Schematics Professional. So Electrical Schematics Professional and Electrical Schematics Standard, both of them have the ability of doing snapshots. Snapshots occur over here on the Process tab, and we can take a snapshot at any point, and we can manage the snapshot. In fact, I have one already stored from the other day. Snapshot was taken. What that does is basically creates a project archive. So as if I was in the project manager, I highlighted the project, I hit archive. But this one specifically gets stored inside the project in the electrical server. So you're essentially making an archive, but that archive gets stored in a specific folder, the physical folder that drives that project. So it's expanding or inflating the size of that project on the electrical server every time I do a snapshot. Okay. I'm going to do another revision just so you can kind of see how we can do a snapshot via revision. So I'll do a new rev, and we'll just call this snap. We'll validate it and verify. I'm sure I'll write it to C or to the pages there. And yeah, won't worry about an ECO number there. I'll hit OK. No PDF. Yes to the snapshot though. So take snapshot. Bases them off of date and time. We hit OK there. And once it finishes creating that archive, we hit OK. Oh, this isn't updating because we need to update that, but so there's our FC. But now if I go back to Snapshot Manager, we have one that was done by a revision verify instead of a manually created one, and then it shows us essentially some event information. If we ever wanted to restore this, we would actually do a restore, and it comes into the project manager as a different project. In fact, let me just do that so you can see that. Yeah, keep one, that's fine. So it actually comes in as a project of a different name. Do I want to open the project? Yeah, of course. So close the top one. So there's the project that was created off the snapshot. So in the case if you need to restore something, well, what I would be doing is I'd actually be maybe archiving this one out one more time, deleting it, and then taking this one and renaming it back to the original name. Okay. All right, I'll close that one. So that is one way that you can store the projects. The other one, in the last few minutes that we've got of this this webinar, oh, I didn't mean to archive. I want to open. There is a functionality that does exist in the electrical suite of software. I think that's probably the best way of saying it. for a PDM electrical integration. And anything prior to 2025, the toolbar and the add-in that does all the configuration in the PDM administration software. So 24 and older, it's a separate tool that gets loaded on the electrical client machine, and then it's a separate add-in that gets loaded into the PDM electrical integration. So it's a separate install. You can reach out to GoEngineer. We can certainly get that to you. We usually like to meet with you first before we send you that file. But that is there. In 2025, they do have that built into both PDM and it can be turned on for the electrical client as well. It does need to be configured and implemented and set up so that it works properly. It's not just a light switch you can turn on. GoEngineer does offer an implementation service for it, just because it can get pretty complex. But it is another way of storing versions. So with this toolbar on, with the project open, I can actually do a check-in of this project. And this is actually going to go out to my SOLIDWORKS PDM Professional Vault view. So I'll bring that up here in a sec. So key things here is you have to have PDM Professional. It can't be PDM Standard. So SOLIDWORKS PDM Professional. And then it has to be SOLIDWORKS Electrical Schematics Professional. It can't be Electrical Schematics Standard. So it has to be Pro on both products, PDM and on electrical itself. So if I say I want to keep it checked out, what it'll do is it'll actually create me a new version in my PDM vault. So currently in the vault view is 5, and it's going to create a 6th one. If I say remove local copy, it's still going to create me a new version, but it's going to remove it out of the project manager, and my single point of truth of that project now becomes PDM. So PDM becomes the rev, sorry, not rev, I got to be careful. It becomes the version controller of it, or version tracking of it. Not revision, but version. And if I needed to bring that back in, I could go to PDM and use the open dialog here and bring it back in. If you want a full demonstration, or you want to just do a Q&A session, we can also assist with that type of thing as well too. But yeah, let me go and do a check-in here so you can kind of see what it does. During that check-in process, it'll create other outputs. So it'll create a PDF on check-in. It'll also even export any Excel documents that we have in the pages tree. I'm just coming back in here just real quick to show you that one without the date and timestamp, the original project, is no longer in the project manager. Its point of truth is PDM. So let me just bring up PDM here real quick. Oh, we don't need that right now. Let's grab my file explorer there. Jump into my C drive, which is where my vault's at, or I could have done the quick access. This one was checked in at an earlier time, so I already knew where it was going to go. It didn't ask me, but we have a folder for it, and then we have a version of that project. In fact, we have 6 versions of that. If we look at the history, we have all the versions that were checked in at different dates and times. So this is PDM. If you've never seen SOLIDWORKS PDM, this is what it is. It's essentially a Windows folder, but with these extra tabs. And we have places where we can store metadata and make it searchable. So that's the other part of the PDM electrical integration, is we do get searchability there. We also did produce a PDF during check-in there. In fact, we should see the, yeah, so there's that extra rev stuff that we just did to the table. So those are showing up on the drawing. Oh, and my mismatch on the stretch there. But it is another way of tracking it. One thing to be aware of is the PDM revision controller that will work with SOLIDWORKS CAD does not work with SOLIDWORKS Electrical yet. It is listed as an enhancement request that people have asked for, but there is no hook from SOLIDWORKS PDM into an electrical project and to be able to have PDM change electrical's rev controller. It just doesn't happen yet. One of the things that we can do as part of the implementation goes is we can grab the book revision and we could map that down to the drawing. Looks like my list is off by one because of my custom formula there, but we can get the revision from Electrical's book, and we can write that onto the data card. But again, PDM's revisions don't push forward there.